So what's up everybody, Black Clover 331 translations are out. This chapter was mind-blowing. A lot of us did predict that Julius has something to do with the Time Devil. Either he was devil possessed or he was Time Devil himself, and a lot of us predicted it right. Julius is not really Julius. Julius is really Lucius. And Lucius 𝚗𝚙𝚑𝚝 is actually that fourth 𝚗𝚙𝚑𝚝 sibling that we've been all wondering about. The epic thing about this is that when we saw Lucius the first time in Xenon's flashback, he was on a wheelchair. It's been confirmed in this chapter that the Time Devil is Astaroth, and Astaroth is known to be on a demon dog. So I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't see that, but let's get into these insane Black Clover 331 translations. First of all, if you like anime, manga reviews, discussion, spoilers, and theories, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, like, comment, switch in with some false copyright strikes, so I had to restart the channel again. Let's get this channel back to 5,000. Check out the second channel, mainly focusing on One Piece, and I'm gonna start applying Boruto videos as well. Stop by the Patreon and Discord. So this chapter was very interesting. Let's start off with the whole Yuno meeting his mom part. It was weird to me that Yuno met his mom after the Spade Kingdom arc happened. I wish we were implied that she was still alive. I mean, I understand that 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚝 was saving her so that the readers can have a more emotional impact when she is revealed, but it kind of felt too convenient as to why she wasn't introduced or even mentioned when the Spade Kingdom resistance went to the Clover Kingdom. He could at least said that she was still alive and at least gave some of the memory of his mom. But either way, I mean, I'm glad that Yuno's mom is still out there because she can fill in as the queen of the Spade Kingdom, so it does solve that issue. But it's just weird to me that it wasn't really explained too well on that part. That part itself is the most low point of this chapter. Everything else was really on point. Basically, the Spade Kingdom resistance wants Yuno to live in the Spade Kingdom, but Yuno has different promises and he has a different idea, which is being a rival towards Asta so that, you know, one of them can actually become the Wizard King. Later on in this chapter, it does explain as to why that is important, and I like the two parallel between Yuno and Asta, how Yuno has the wind spirit, which has to do with divinity in Black Clover because the same stage, and also Asta having Liebes on his shoulder who is demonic, so it's showing the opposite of the two. And like I said before in the spoilers, I wouldn't be surprised if Asta's father is out there alive. Some of you guys are saying that it's Julius, it's Lucius, and honestly I don't think it's true. Asta looks nothing like the fourth 𝚗𝚙𝚑𝚝 sibling. What is it with the fandom trying to make Asta a 𝚗𝚙𝚑𝚝 family member? Because it's funny enough, we still don't know Asta's last name. This chapter does confirm that Asta didn't know that 𝚗𝚙𝚾 was his mom. I really like that scene because it shows that Asta is very wholesome, that even if he was put for adoption, he doesn't bear bad feelings, at least in the fan translations. He's just happy that he was loved, and that was the most important thing. Now I'm pretty sure he knows the reason why 𝚗𝚙𝚾 couldn't be around him is because she stole mana and life force. I just kind of wish that Asta was able to meet 𝚗𝚙𝚾, but at least he met her through Liebes' memories. Also, like, we're definitely gonna get a major plot twist with Asta's father. I know I've been saying that Asta's father could be just like this random normal human, and I still think it's possible. Other people are saying he's half something else. That still is a possibility, but to me, I think Asta's father has something to do with Alan, because I think the fourth 𝚗𝚙𝚑𝚝 sibling Lucius, who is Julius, I'm still trying to process that, most likely use Alan as a trigger / catalyst to make Xenon become basically who he became. I read some people in the Reddit saying that Alan or Asta are actually Lucius and the Time Devil's demon dog, because Astaroth is known to have a demon dog. So that's another mystery that I hope the next arc explains as to who that is. It'd be very interesting if it's Liebes. Like, who is Liebes in demonology? Because I definitely think Liebes has something to do with the 𝚲𝚘𝚾, because I said before in other videos that when they fuse together they have 5 horns. That's very suspicious to me, because the 𝚲𝚾𝚾 and the goat head, even though it symbolizes Satan, it's the image of the 𝚲𝚾𝚾, but people have been saying it's Satan. It's completely different. And the whole 5-horn thing, when Asta and Liebes are in their perfect devil union, to me that indicates they have something to do with 𝚲𝚾𝚾, and it'll be very interesting because he was known to be worshipped with the Knights Templars. In this case, if you see what's going on with the later part of the chapter, the head of the Magic Squad Knights is Julius, who's technically similar to like the Pope. There was the Pope and then basically the Emperor. So Julius is technically the Pope, and the King Augustus, I believe his name is technically the Emperor. Also, I can see Lucius 𝚖𝚑𝚝 taking advantage of Julius. Now that I think Julius is weakened, I'll explain later on in this video. And he could blame the Magic Squad in devil worshipping, similar to what happened to the Knights Templar when they were accused of worshipping Baphomet, because I think Liebes has something to do with the Baphomet, and I think that's his real name. Also, the Knights Templar and the Magic Knight Squads, there's some comparison between the two. The Knights Templars were accused by the Pope that they worship Baphomet, and because Liebes and Asta literally just defeated Lucifero, and to them they just saved the world, I could definitely see the Magic Knight Squads not worshipping but favoring Liebes and Asta. And because demonology in Black Clover is very strong, I could see Julius, who's being used by Lucius, who I think took over him more now that Julius is weaker because he became a kid, could use Julius' influence to have the Magic Knight Squad possibly be arrested or accused of devil worshipping because of Liebes. However, I don't think Julius, the character himself, is evil. Asta and Liebes' conversation kind of leads us to believe that Lucifero actually is dead. It's just weird to me how everybody kind of is somewhat calm because 𝚲𝚘𝚎𝚘𝚗 just went his way to the human world. He's out on the loose. So that's my little concern, that people seem a little bit too calm. I know people are saying that there's going to be a time skip coming up soon, but it'd just be very weird if there's a time skip and the characters know that there's a devil out there still rolling around the human world. So, and not just any devil, a supreme devil. One thing you guys pointed out to me is that every time there's a clock shown in Black Clover where it has some emphasis, it always has to do with like 7:30-ish or 7:25. I don't know what that's about. I googled that 7:30. You guys know anything about numerology and demonology? Let me know what that is. That's 7:30, 7:25, between those two times. One of you guys let me know about that through the comments. I like the part when Asta and Yuno both say that they're going to be Wizard King, because right afterwards it goes to where Julius is at in the Clover Kingdom and Damnatio. The funny thing is that I don't know if it's Asta or Liebes, but one of them says that they hate Damnatio. It's funny in a sense because Damnatio looks like he died in this chapter. I don't think he's going to be dead. The only reason why I say that is because the problem with him being dead, people are going to start asking a lot of questions because he does come from a royal family. So if Damnatio is actually dead, then how would Julius explain this? That Damnatio decided to leave? He's studying something? It would leave a lot of suspicion to have Damnatio actually be dead. I know one of you guys have told me that there's a possibility that Lucius actually has mind magic, that's original magic, which will make sense if you think about it, because Dante had flesh/body magic, Monica had blood magic, Xenon had bone magic, so it makes you think, what does the fourth 𝚲𝚑𝚝 sibling Lucius has? It will make sense if it is mind magic, because it looks like Julius is his own person, and Julius seems to be somebody that actually is a good person, that isn't really aware of his basically evil nature, or that part of him that has to do something with Lucius and Astaroth. Going back, which further concludes this, is that Julius is saying something doesn't feel right. He hasn't been feeling right even since for a while. He did felt that uneasy feeling when Lucifero came out. That being said, I definitely think that Lucius is his own person, and Julius is his own person as well. Julius has that problem that William Vengeance has. However, I don't think Julius is aware of who he is or his evil part of himself is. The reason why I say that is because remember when Julius fought 𝚲𝚘𝚎𝚘, and I was wondering, why did Julius die when he was fighting 𝚲𝚘𝚎𝚘? What was the purpose of him almost dying during that fight? Because he had to use that ruin magic to come back to life. And now I realize it's because Lucius wanted to weaken Julius. Because what I think is happening is that Lucius waited his time to make sure that Julius is weak enough for him to take over Julius' body without much struggle. So I don't know how Lucius and Astaroth are the same person. Same thing with Julius. I think somehow, some way, Lucius gave his soul, body, and everything about him to Astaroth. Something similar to what happened to Xenon, but something on an even grander scale. And maybe this is how Astaroth was able to escape the underworld, through Lucius. The funny thing is that I remember when the first Wizard King came, Julius was nowhere nearby, because the first Wizard King probably could have sensed something wrong with Julius, because he said, "I'm glad to see my descendants," and he was talking about the royal family, Noel and Mimosa, but Julius is technically a royal. I was wondering why he didn't see quote-unquote his ancestor, and I realized why now. It's just that Lumiere most likely could have figured out that there's something up with Julius, because I mean, Lumiere means light. He would be enlightened to what's going on with Julius, or sense something's off. And funny enough, Lucius also means light as well. And I checked Lucius, and Lucius apparently was a Roman emperor that was the adopted brother of another emperor emperor and they co-ruled Rome. That being said, it's a possibility that Julius is actually adopted. Just going with Lucius' name, I definitely think that Lucius has something to do with mind magic, because when we see him at the end of the chapter, after 𝙲𝚘𝚎 was basically gonna give Lucifer's heart to Lucius, you see a spade grimoire, and I was always wondering why Julius's grimoire did not have like a cover to it. Why was his grimoire so different? It was because basically it was a disguise for his real grimoire, and you see it. The cover of his grimoire is a spade grimoire with 2 spades on it, which I think it means that there's 2 people. I still think that Julius somehow doesn't know that he has anything to do with Lucius. He just has the issue that William Vengeance has. It also makes me wonder, was Julius' prediction of Asta dying, was it Lucius influencing Julius's predictions? I definitely think there's a possibility that Lucius had something to do with Liebes getting out of the underworld and him meeting 𝚲𝚎𝚅 and then Asta getting the grimoire. I think that might have all been Lucius' plan, unless when he first saw Asta, he said he had the potential to do what he wanted to do, because it just seems a little bit weird that he was able to plot all this that happened in the Spade Kingdom arc. And why did he leave Yuno alive? If Yuno is royalty from the Spade Kingdom, why did Lucius have Yuno live? Then again, like I said before, there's a possibility that Lucius just couldn't have so much control over Julius because Julius was at full power. But after when Patri did a cheap shot and Julius took that devastating blow to save the kingdom, I think that was the case for Lucius to get more power over the body that he shares with Julius. And also wonder, moving forward, will the Julius we know slowly disappear? Another thing as well, we know that Lucius has something to do with Astaroth, the Time Devil. We know that the Time Devil was replaced with Magicla, so that means that the Time Devil is outside in the real world. So what I wanted to say is that I've been researching Astaroth, and I said this before in other videos, that Astaroth has like a good person or good guy complex. In demonology, a lot of times Astaroth doesn't want to help anybody unless they have good intentions. Astaroth feels like it's been betrayed because the world sees him as an evil demon, but in some texts he doesn't really see himself as an evil demon. He sees himself as like a good demon. It's just circumstances that he gets labeled as an evil entity. And funny enough, Astaroth does have a goddess form. It's called Astari. I said this in other videos before. Astari is a goddess, basically a Middle Eastern goddess. You know, Astaroth became what was Astari because of Judeo-Christianity adapting other deities from nearby tribes and nearby communities into Judeo-Christianity, but as a demon, so that they can focus on the monotheistic Judeo-Christian God. So with that being said, it makes sense that there's going to be a good side and there's going to be a bad side to the person who has Astaroth. Either they're possessed by them or they have something to do with it, and that's what happened. With that being said, Astaroth has a good guy complex, so it could be that Julius has been a facade this whole time, but I'm leaning more towards Julius being his own person that had no idea that he had a connection or an evil side to him that was Lucius, the 𝚲𝚎𝚅 sibling that has connection to the Time Devil. This is epic. I really like it. Hopefully 𝚲𝚅 doesn't drop the ball, and he explains this very well. I'm really excited for what's to come for Black Clover, because I know 𝚲𝚅 is going to do a lot of plot twists that it's going to be jaw-dropping. But yes, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this chapter. Did you expect Julius to be the Time Devil? Did you have a feeling it was going to happen? Are you excited as to what's going on with Black Clover? Are you sad that Black Clover is going to the final leg of its story? Who do you think Liebes is? Do you think his real name is Baphomet? I'm starting to think that Liebes is actually Baphomet, and I've been saying that for a while now. Do you think Asta's father is Alan? Do you think Asta's father is out there somewhere? Like, if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here.